afternoon. Well, it's evening now, isn't it? Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to episode 2 of the... I nearly said it again. I've done it again. It's not the Total Screamers podcast, is it? It's the same old Screamers podcast. Maybe. It's the same old Screamers podcast. Hello to you all in the chat box. Plenty of you in there already. Good evening to you all. Hope you are all well. Hello to all you lucky ducks that have been in the pub this afternoon. I said it last night again. Highly, highly jealous of you all. Hope you're well. Yeah, oh God. I'm gasping for a real pint. I was gasping for a pint of cold lager, I'll tell you. Hope you're all well and that you're all keeping safe. Joining me this evening is Dan from the Same Old Arsenal podcast. He really doesn't need any introduction, but we'll give him an introduction anyway. And he's had a fresh haircut by the looks of things.
Yeah, I'm trying to look like you and Lee Judges by the day, mate. But yeah, the hair's not quite going yet.
You don't want to look like Lee Judges.
More years. Nah, I've got a few more years before this barnet goes. It's starting to, unfortunately, but there we go.
Looking like me, I could understand, but looking like Judges, well, I'm not too sure about that.
I'd definitely pick you over Judges, mate. No one wants to look like Voldemort today, let's be honest.
Let's hope you ain't watching this. Let's hope you ain't watching this.
Really. He loves me, really. No, I'm all good, mate. I mean, I enjoyed this last week. This was great banter. And I'm just looking forward to ripping Simo, really, about how wrong he was about Liverpool. But there we go. Let's get into that in a bit.
That's all we've got time for today. Thank you very much.
leads me into introducing Simo. How are you, sir?
Very well, mate. Very well. Looking forward to Liverpool putting Real Madrid to the sword tonight.
Yeah, look, they've done it before, didn't they?
I don't
Done
know
it before.
I mean, done it before. Done it against their counterparts, Barca. Obviously, it doesn't help that Real Madrid just recently beat Barca in El Clasico. But you can always hopeful, aren't you?
It's a funny old game, mate. It's a funny old game. You just don't know, do you? I mean, I remember when Liverpool brought. I know the crowd is there, and that's a massive factor. You know, that was probably a massive factor in that game as well. But you just don't know, mate. In the words of Jimmy Greaves, it's a funny old game, mate. It's a funny old game.
Fun.
Introducing Paul. How are you, sir? The man that brings you Wiki Footballers on Twitter. A brilliant account. I love it. I love it.
Cheers for the plug.
I love it. Go and follow it. Wiki Footballers on Twitter. Put your football knowledge to the test. Like I did at the weekend and got it right. I was delighted with myself. Absolutely delighted. I was all day checking. Has he answered me yet? Is that right? Go and check it. Paul, how are you, sir?
Very well, Craig. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm all right. I'm always all right. Well, that's what they say anyway. That's what. I like my new shirt. Though. Have a look at that.
That is a beauty.
Isn't it, that?
Smart as a carrot, mate. Smart as a carrot.
That's cost you a lot, that, I can tell.
Oh, mate, I'm telling you, it's cost me a lot of money, that.
It's been hard to find as well.
Oh, very hard. It's taken me weeks and weeks and weeks to find this. Yeah.
Absolute classic.
Oh, classic. Oh, yeah. It took me weeks and weeks. Found it in China in the end. What would you imagine, of all places? Been a great week of Premier League football. Great week. Some surprising results. Arsenal won, which is always nice to see. Also, another result that came to a surprise was Leeds beating Manchester City. We'll talk a bit about that later on. But I think I want to start off by talking about Jesse Lingard, because since he's left Man United, he's become a different player. I think he scored, is it 7 goals in 11 games for West Ham or something like that?
7 goals, 4 assists.
It's amazing. He's left Manchester United. Obviously, he wasn't flavour of the month at Manchester United. The manager, Ollie at Manchester United, obviously didn't fancy him. He's gone to Manchester United, and the resurgence has been unbelievable. And now he's really probably got his seat on the plane for the Euros, I think. And I think, I'm not too sure, Sim, I'll come to you first. I think he might go at Jack Grealish's expense.
That would make one of my hosts very, very unhappy. I think he'd jump out a window if that happened. I think, it's been absolutely superb to see the random resurgence of Jesse Lingard to put it into context, in the last 3 seasons for Manchester United, Jesse Lingard played 79 games and he got 8 goals and 4 assists. And he's managed to do 7 goals and 4 assists in 11 games for West Ham. And I think he might just be one of those players that just needs to be the talisman. Just needs to be the talisman. He can't really be playing second string to anybody. And I think when he is that main outlet, and you can tell at this point, West Ham, if any West Ham player, as soon as they receive the ball, put their head up and look for where Jesse Lingard is on the pitch, and it doesn't really matter where he is, he's likely to receive the pass if the pass is on. He's been super impressive. In terms of he's getting on the plane for England, I think, well, when you're in form like that, you make up the manager's mind for him. He can't not get on the plane if he continues that vein of form. And I think if West Ham they'll get European football this season. I think that's probably a given at this point. But in terms of whether it's going to be Champions League or Europa, I think if it was Champions League football, it'd be a very, very special season for West Ham, and he'd be a big, massive part of that.
Unbelievable. West Ham in the Champions League. I mean, as an Arsenal fan, it's something you never thought you'd hear yourself say. But I mean, absolutely fair play to him, and fair play to David Moyes. The way, from what he's come from, he come from Everton, went to Manchester United, didn't work out for him at Manchester United, was lambasted, and he's come down to West Ham, and I'm pretty sure West Ham fans would probably have gone, "Oh my God, what are we taking on here?" Paul, Jesse Lingard, there's a few comments coming in. Jake says Jesse Lingard is replacing Grealish. Easy. Billy Powell says if Jack Grealish doesn't go, Gareth Southgate should be sacked on the spot, especially if it's for Lingard. I think that the only reason I say that is because obviously Jack Grealish has been out injured for quite a long time. Is he going to be fit for the Euros? Who knows? I'm not too sure on how lengthy the injury is. Is he going to be back before the end of the season? I think I watched an interview with the Villa manager to say that he might be out till the end of the season. So, I mean, if he's out till the end of the season, that sounds alarm bells for me for Jack Grealish, that he might miss out. So, I mean, that's the only reason why I say that if Grealish is injured, then perhaps Lingard takes his place. Henry says that Grealish is England's second best player. I'd probably agree with that, but there's no point taking a half fit Jack Grealish. I want a full fit Jack Grealish to go to the Euros.
I think if I had my way with Jack Grealish, he wouldn't be going to the Euros either. He'd still be playing for Ireland. But
to be fair, in the last few weeks, it's pretty obvious why they keep jumping ship, isn't it?
We're not talking about that. That wasn't on the agenda. Obviously Lingard's form is unbelievable. Just didn't expect it at all. But to say he's better than Grealish or should be in the England squad ahead of Grealish, I think is going too far. But as you said, if Grealish is still injured, obviously it's a no-brainer. But if Grealish is back, then I think he's one of England's best players. And obviously Lingard's in good form. And it's good to have him coming into form or in form for the Euros. But I just can't see beyond the fact that he hasn't been playing for the last 18 months before that and hasn't been really doing anything.
What if he finishes the season stronger? What if he can? Form stays until the end? I just don't. If he continues that for the remaining, how many games we've got left now? Is it about 7 or 8 now? Something like that. But you literally can't leave him out if that happens. And someone's going. There will be a big game, a big name that misses out on the England call up. It'll probably be a Jack Grealish or a Jadon Sancho or I wouldn't.
It could be James Maddison.
James Maddison as well is another one that did really, really well. Jordan Henderson might not make it back in time because he's obviously picked up another injury near the end of the season. I mean, must be a nice problem to have,
Just be happy you get to go.
Well, this is it.
Yeah, mate, I'm just there for the day out, mate. I'm just there for the day out.
Dan, Jesse Lingard, mate. The resurgence. What you got to say about him?
Yeah, it makes me uncomfortable talking about this topic because I'm not a fan of the lad. I've never really rated him, if I'm honest with you. I just thought he was a workhorse that didn't stop running. Unfortunately, what he's done is pick his form up and he's taken up all the experience that he's got from United and he's given it into West Ham's spirit. he's got the mentality right within the club, and he seems to be loved at the club, not just by the fans, because obviously you can't notice it so much without the fans there, but the players really seem to all be celebrating the goals with him in a way that you just know they seem to get on with him. So I think he's brought over some kind of team spirit, and that's lifted the team. I think David Moyes deserves a lot of credit for the signing, if I'm honest, because it was risky. It was a player that wasn't getting game time. It was a player that showed that he was more of an Instagrammer than a footballer at that period of time, and I think he's changed that now. And in terms of England,
beans.
And in terms of England, I think he's going to go. Whatever. I think the players to miss out, I don't think it will be Grealish, because I don't know how you can't pick him. I think he's a starter, let alone one in the squad. I think when you look at who's going to miss out, James Maddison, unfortunately, is going to be one of those. And I think it will probably be Ollie Watkins, who doesn't go as a striker, and he'll bring in another midfielder. I think that will probably be Jesse Lingard as well as Jack Grealish. If I was to look at the squad as a whole, I think that England have got a very, very, very good chance of doing very well at this competition. My only fear with England is that we have so many midfielders. I'd like to have a few centre-halves and a couple better defensive midfielders than Harry Maguire and Calvin Phillips, but that's just my say. But in terms of, as far as Lingard's concerned, this has been something that Paul Merson can hold his head up high, because when he said this is going to be the signing of the window, everyone was howling on the floor laughing. And it's turned out to be an absolutely exceptional signing for West Ham. And those stats that Simo just called out, I mean, wow. 7 goals for us. This is 11, and he had that in 89 for United. That is exceptional. So we'll have to see what happens with his season, but it's looking good for the lad.
Absolutely. I mean, we have a comment here. Lingard may need to stay at West Ham. Maybe he can't handle the pressure being at the biggest football club in England. Since when does he play for Arsenal?
I know I've seen one other.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. Stevie Best says, "Come on, wait for the Euros. Come on, Portugal. Oh, go easy, Stevie. Go easy, mate. England all the way, son. England all the way." What's he say? Billy says, Ezri Konza for centre half. Promised I'm not being biased for Villa.
Do you know what, though? He's got a shout there. Because Konza
absolutely.
and Mings have had a good season, I think, together. Personally, I know he's only half joke mucking around there, but I think he's a hell of a centre half, that Konza. I think he's been great.
Absolutely. I agree with you. Billy. So not a bad shout, mate. Not a bad shout.
I don't think he gets ahead of John Stones or Harry Maguire.
I think I'd get in
Harry
front of
Maguire.
John.
Maybe he's that third choice. I know, but
I think I'll get in front of Harry Maguire, to be honest.
Yeah. I like John Stones this season, but he's a ticking time bomb, John Stones, though, isn't he? He's just like we saw against in the last game. I don't know who it was against now. Is it Poland? And he just absolutely like calamity again. It's just like he has got that in his locker. And Harry Maguire, my God, I can't. As a centre-half.
Harry Maguire has got the turning circle of the evergreen container ship. He's rubbish. Honestly, I can't believe England have gone from Terry Butcher, Mark Wright, John Terry, Sol Campbell, to Harry Maguire and John Stones. It's just, I can't.
Poor, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is poor.
Who
would I rather?
I'd have Lewis Dunk, Tarkowski.
Someone like
I'd have any
my
of them.
God.
Yeah,
any of those over that
should
absolute
just be
clown.
Dunk and Tarko.
They play like bottom half of the league. How could you think they're better players than?
Because
I
they
don't
can
like Maguire
defend,
either,
Paul.
but like,
Maguire
yeah,
can't
because they can defend.
mate.
Yeah.
Might be playing for bad sides, but they can defend more than that clown. Jesus.
You see,
they get a lot of practice, I guess.
You see, what happens with the England team is, Paul, is that unfortunately, what happens with the England team is you only get in the England team for who you play for.
Exactly.
And that's what's wrong with England football. You only get in there because you're English and you play for Man U. All right, well, you can play for us then.
Notice how John Stones and Harry Maguire didn't play much for England when they were playing for Hull and Leicester and Barnsley and Everton.
Exactly my point. But then there is a few players in there, of course, that are not big clubs because we basically haven't got anyone else, and that's why we have to take players off Ireland. So
The sad state of affairs.
that's how it goes, you see.
And we get Callum Robinson instead.
and Clinton O'Morrison.
He's a good player.
He was a good
Shame,
player.
shame Eric Dyer wasn't Irish, wasn't it? He could have gone over and played.
Yeah, we could have had him. Yeah, he would have been all right.
He'll play at the Euros. Eric Dyer will.
Eric Dyer.
awful.
Dyer by name,
not
Dyer by
my
nature. Absolute rubbish. Absolute
I like how he's a
rubbish.
centre back now. It's like he was playing in midfield, and like, Josie's just said, "You're not."
I don't think he knows where he is.
Nowhere near a midfielder.
Yeah,
He can't play in either, can he? He's dreadful. He is awful. I can't stand him.
What about this thing they call VAR? I mean, it is rubbish, honestly. If the people that run VAR in this country fell in a barrel of boobs, they'd come up sucking their thumbs. I mean, it is so bad the way people run. When it was being implemented at the World Cup, the last World Cup, it was being run very well, and it was being used by competent referees. And I was thinking, God, this is brilliant. This is the way VAR was stopping the game, talking to the ref and saying to the ref, right, go over, have a look at that, and have a look at what you think. This is what we think. We're not too sure. Go and have a look at the screen. If you watch the World Cup, every decision was looked at on the screen before any decision was made by the referee. And I was thinking, this is going to be really, really good. Then the first season we see in the Premier League, the decisions are being made over the microphone. Referees are not going to have a look at it on monitors. They're just going by what they're hearing in their ears. I've seen it in Australia being used, where you can actually hear the referees talking to the official in VAR. I think we should be able to hear what they're saying. I think, and I don't like the way they stop the replays being shown either on big screens, so the fans can't see what's happening.
I just don't think they want a carnage.
Well, exactly, because it's ridiculous. Now, I'm going to start off with the decision. I mean, there's so many this weekend. We had a bad decision on Friday night, was it? In Friday night's game, there was so many bad decisions in Saturday. But I'm going to start off. I know this is going to sound a bit biased because it's against the Tottenham player, but I'm going to start off with the McTominay and Son incident. Now, I'm not going to have a go at Son, right? For diving around. We all know that he dives around and likes to have a little roll around in the grass. But there is no way in my mind that was intentional. And the people who are upstairs watching that, they don't think it's intentional either. And that's why they've passed the buck to the referee. Dan, would you agree with me there?
Yeah, to me, it doesn't matter if it's intentional or unintentional. Right? It's not a foul. I mean, I hope Son's all right and he ain't out for too long. I mean, Jesus Christ, what an absolute embarrassment. This guy is just, he does it week in, week out, doesn't he? And then what you think there is you think, finally, he's going over to the screen. This is going to be good. This is going to be embarrassing for Son. He's going to say, listen, get up. And he just has to go on. And I think, what the hell are we watching here now? VAR is not the problem here, by the way. Everyone says VAR needs to go and it needs to be scrapped. VAR works because it's a system. It's a computer replay system. What doesn't work is the officials. We have got the worst officials. They have I just don't understand the mentality of them. I don't understand why there's too many cooks spoil the broth, because that's what it is. You've got a referee on the pitch that should be able to make a decision going over to a TV screen. I don't think he should be having somebody in his ear saying, I think you might want to go and have a look at that, mate. I think he should decide whether he thinks he should all the time. And so, right, I think that's a penalty. Let's go and see if I've got that right on the screen. Oh, yeah, I did. Or, oh, no, actually, they didn't touch him. None of these four people in his ears go and have a look at that. He might have clipped him. He might have hit his arm. He might have done that. Just all that stuff is then just controversial. We're supposed to have brought this in so it was not controversial. And it has made it more controversial than any other season I can remember going back in history. Some of the decisions are shocking. Some of the rules need looking at. The handball rule, I know it's half been looked at, still needs looking at again. How you can have some of the decisions going against not just Arsenal, but some of the other decisions, but us in particular this season, I think have been hard done by. Certainly some of the decisions, I think the David Luiz one, I still can't quite understand that one at all when he's running back and then the guy falls over. So I think there needs to be looked at some of the rules. The officials are an absolute joke, but VAR could work. It could. but human error is what's getting it wrong, not computer error. Because whenever I see like the West Brom one, all these lines are going up, and I'm thinking, what the hell are they trying to look at there? It is a you know, and that's Willie, aren't we? We're talking here. We're not talking like had daylight. We're not talking all this stuff. We are literally squinting at the screen, trying to work out what the hell they're looking at. That's not football to me. And when I saw that decision, Craig, against Son, I thought, all right, what are we supposed to be watching here? I said it last night on the podcast. I spoke to a Man United fan, and he said, I'm not enjoying this season now. He said, I should be laughing at Liverpool. It's hilarious. I should be laughing at you boys, Arsenal, how crap you are. I'm laughing at Tottenham and being out in the Europa League. He says, I'm a Man United fan and I'm second. And I'm thinking, this has been an awful season because this VAR stuff is just ruining the game. And they won the game 3-1 quite comfortably in the end, which was great. But he still said he didn't enjoy it because of that. And I think it has ruining it. It's definitely ruining it.
Yeah, there is that argument for it as well. It is ruining the game. I mean, like, Paul, I mean, VAR, Dan's hit the nail on the head there. I think VAR can work if you can get the right officials to use it. But I think another thing that's got to be looked at as well is the rules. And the handball rule's got to be looked at. But I think another rule that has got to be looked at big time before next season, that is the offside rule. And I'm sitting here saying to you, Paul, that offside rule has got to be changed and it has got to go back to clear daylight. There has to be daylight between the attacker and the defender for it to be offside to stop this stupid thing of, his nose was offside or his finger was offside. Or it's absolutely pathetic. We watch football to see entertainment, to watch goals being scored. Do you know, we've got to get something back into this game to make it more exciting for us, the fans. You know, it's getting ridiculous now.
Yeah, I think, like, I actually completely agree with Dan that it's, and I think most people would agree with Dan that it's not VAR that's the problem, it is the referees. Like, especially when you're looking at the Son decision, it clearly wasn't a foul and it wasn't intentional. So that's the referee's problem, and he made the wrong decision in the end. And then, what you said, Craig, about offside, I think VAR is supposed to be brought in to make things easier for the officials and to make the correct decisions all the time. And it's clear that for offside, they can't do that at the moment. Or not in the Premier League anyway. I think in the Champions League, whenever I've watched it, it has been a little bit better. You don't seem to have the long wait for the offside. You don't seem to be looking at the same replays for a minute and a half, 2 minutes. So yeah, you're completely right. I don't actually have a solution for offside. I think maybe just until they can actually sort it, just give the power back to the linesman. And if he makes the wrong decision, he makes the wrong decision. Like, football worked fine, obviously not perfect for 100 years before it. So unless they can actually get the technology completely right, where they have they have a rule and then they're able to use technology to implement the rule, then until then just leave it to the linesman. They're going to get some decisions wrong or right. But it seems that way with VAR as well. Like, the amount of time spent, and especially like the Villa goal, the Liverpool goal against Villa. If there are fans in the stadium for all these decisions, they'd be sitting there for like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, just feel like, what is going on here? It would be terrible. And it'd probably quicken the pace with which VAR is looked at. It's probably lucky that there's no fans in the stadiums at the moment.
Yeah, I agree with you, but then I do agree with you. But then I'll come back to a decision that was absolutely mind blowing at the time, which involved Arsenal. Was Pierre Emerick Aubameyang's equaliser, at Old Trafford, when he went through and equalised, and the linesman put his flag up for offside, and he was about 4 yards onside. So, you know.
Yeah,
I know it brings the controversy back. It will bring the controversy back into the game, and it will give us talking points and stuff like that. But I just want to know why it just seems to be the Premier League where it's not working, or not that it's not working. Why it seems to be the Premier League where they keep getting it wrong.
I think there's a lot of factors in it. I mean, this year this season for officiating has been absolutely shambolic. I mean, you mentioned the handball rule earlier near the beginning of the season. I don't know whose idea it was, Phil, just to say any ball that touches a hand in the box is a penalty, no matter the context. And they changed it, and it is in a little bit of a better shape these days. But in terms of the offside rule, I think see before pre-VAR when you see a goal, but you can see if it's offside or it's onside just by the eye, and you kind of make up your mind and you move on. If the line gets it wrong, then you kind of go, oh yeah, shit, and then you kind of forgot about it in a week. But see when you're done by VAR, I think it hurts more because you can see it. You can see it on the screen. You're thinking, he's on, he is on, and it's. I think people want to see goals, and goals can't be celebrated really. And players, unless a player is unless it's a goal outside the box, or even these days, there might be something in the build-up. I don't know, some brush of the arm or something, or brush of the cheek. If you look at Son and McTominay, which is again according to that.
But I think if the decision's right, though, then it's fine. Like I know you
say
people
I'd
say
agree.
that, players can't celebrate. Well, who cares if the decision's right in the end? Then that's what you want. But the offside thing, it just seems so minuscule. It's the fact that they're looking for fingers or noses
Yeah, that's
that's a great point. Yeah.
Especially that a manager won't, like Mourinho might, but a normal manager won't be in the post-match interview going, his finger was offside. Why wasn't that called? Like there's no need to go into that detail. That's the problem.
Yeah. Dan, what do you think about these minuscule offsides that keep being called? I mean, Arsenal, as Arsenal fans, we've been victims of that. I mean, I'm sure pretty every Premier League team's been a victim of that. This stupid, his toe, this silly red line that comes out because his toenail is in front of the defender. I mean, it's ridiculous. Someone's got to sort out the offside rule, and Arsene Wenger, I think, has said to the people at FIFA and UEFA that they've got to bring that rule in, that it's got to be clear daylight.
Well, we spent 22 years with Arsene Wenger and he never saw anything, and now all of a sudden he can see it all. I think a bit harsh, really. You won the Premier League unbeaten, mate. throw that one in there. I think personally there needs to be a black and white rule, and it's not going to be a black and white rule. It's too grey at the moment, and the only black and white rule for me is there's either you see daylight, or if there's a part of your body that is onside, then the goal's given. And people would say, but it'd be impossible to defend. But we'd see a lot more goals, and defending would change, yes, of course. But it'd be a very, very entertaining game, and you would know the rule. Yeah, sorry, defended poor because you left him onside. That's the way I see it. So I would personally go to something like that. I don't see it changing to be that extreme. I think that we're going to see this now. And it will probably be something even more bizarre that they bring in about the offside rule. The handball one, like Simo says, has changed and it has got better, but I still think it's crazy. I can't tell you what is and what isn't a handball anymore. And the offside situation with a toe or an arm or whatever it be, I just find that absolutely bizarre. If you can't, is there something offside that you can't score with? How the hell is that supposed to be offside? I remember the Bamford one a few months ago where he's pointing for where he wants the ball. And they pass it to him directly in where he's pointing for it. And then because he's done that, he's offside. I mean, that is unbelievably poor, isn't it?
That's what I mean. It's ridiculous.
It's got to change, Craig.
Crouchy would have spent his full career offside. It's ridiculous.
He certainly would have done. Along with players like Olivier Giroud and these kind of players, they would have spent their whole careers offside. Absolutely correct. Another team I think deserve a mention this week is Leeds United, going to the Etihad Stadium and beating Manchester City. Not only beating Manchester City, but beating Manchester City with 10 men.
I love Leeds.
I do too, but again, in that game, another controversial decision with their captain being sent off. Another decision that went to VAR. Referee gave the yellow card first, and then the officials obviously asked the ref to go and have another look at it, and that was overturned and given to red. Now, I might put the cat. Might put the cat amongst the pigeons here and say I didn't think that was a red card. Paul disagrees with me. I don't think it was a red card. I think the ball was won first. It was the momentum of the tackle. I don't think it was a malicious tackle. I think that the way he went in was he won the ball, but the momentum of the tackle took him into the player. I don't think he went in with intent, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get you. I think he went in a bit recklessly. I don't like it was a 50-50 tackle and he needed to win it, but there's a way to win the tackle and still
Too
make
high
sure
for me.
your opponent is safe. And I don't think he really did that. I think he kind of went in to leave a bit on Jesus. That's just the way I saw it. And yeah, you could tell he was fired up or whatever, and that happens. But yeah, I just didn't think there was any need to tackle like that. There wasn't. Not at all. And
You agree?
He went on Jesus. Yeah.
You agree, Simo?
Yeah, it was far too high for me. Running at too fast a pace, And when you look at it back in slow motion, everything looks bust in slow motion. But for me, really, he did power into Jesus with some. I don't know. He did get the ball. He absolutely did get the ball, but he's a little too high for me, and he really, really could have seriously hurt Jesus if that went on another day. That could have been a leg breaker easily. Yeah, so for me, it could have been a yellow bit for me. I probably.
I think if he'd have gone like I'm saying, it wasn't a red card for me because if he'd have gone over the ball and missed the ball completely, then yeah, I'm saying that's red card all day long. I just think I just think he went for the ball. I can see him going for the ball. I think all his eyes were on the ball, and I don't think that. Now I'm starting to doubt myself now, but yeah.
Join us, Craig.
Yeah, I don't think it's a red card. I think a yellow would have sufficed. I think it was high. Yes, I think Gabriel made a meal of it. He got up walking around like nothing happened to him afterwards. I look at all that.
Yeah, Craig, what do you want him to do?
If Gabriel had been stretched off, then but no, he got up, walks around like nothing had happened. I don't think it was a red card, Dan.
I think the easiest way to answer this is that the game has completely changed, and that nowadays I can see why the referee's given that as a red card. I don't think it was years ago. I went into Sunday League games going in to hurt players. I didn't go in to injure players. I went in to hurt them and leave stuff on them. You can't do that now because you're going to get sent off. And, you imagine Roy Keane or Vieira or Vinnie Jones or going back further doing that. That's a good tackle. They would be applauding it. Now it's absolute disgrace and they need to be sent off and they should be ashamed of themselves. Well, 20 years ago, they shouldn't have been. So why should they be now? The game's changed. And I think you have to understand that. And if you are looking at that and taking all that into account, I can see why it's a red card. I wouldn't look at that and think, oh my God, I hope Jesus is okay. Because he's another one who's rolling around on the floor too much for my liking. However, I look at the situation and can understand why it's a red card. But it doesn't matter at the end of the day because Leeds did them. And they were brilliant.
True, yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. And I must admit, I must say this, Craig, they have been my favourite team to watch this year, apart from
I like watching Leeds. Yeah.
You never know what you're
absolutely
gonna get,
brilliant.
You never know.
Oh, they're brilliant to watch. Absolutely superb. And you know, I play fantasy football and I was looking at some of the players of like just the transfers to see who's doing. And Dallas, Harrison and Bamford are all in the top 5 in each of their positions. That's how good they've been. And Meliangar was in the top 5 goalkeepers as well. So they've had some really good performers on the pitch. Bielsa, I just absolutely love. He's a brilliant manager.
Yeah, here's a question for you, Dan. Here's a question for you. If Arsenal sacked Arteta in the morning, would you take him as manager?
100%.
Simo?
100%.
If Liverpool sacked Klopp tomorrow morning, would you take him as Liverpool manager?
Well, of course, that would never happen, would it, Craig? But
Well, you don't know after tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Just for the sheer sort of for me, I don't think there's a manager in the league right now, including Klopp, that is as genuine as Marcelo Bielsa. He is a madman. Yeah. He's a total weirdo and a madman and a mad scientist of football. But I love that about him. He's genuine in his interviews. He's so passionate on the touchline. He's really weird. Yeah, he's definitely my cup of tea. I would have him at Liverpool.
I'd have him because he's really weird.
Yeah, he's really weird, mate.
You know what?
It's like
I loved it when they got promoted, and he lives in a little two up, two down on a main road in the middle of Leeds city centre. And he's like outside having a cup of tea, and everyone's up at his front wall. Right, go on, son, and he's out. Do you know, Paul? I didn't even ask you who you support, mate. I don't even know who you support.
I'm a Liverpool fan.
Liverpool as well. I mean, would you take him at Liverpool? I think so.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I think even if they didn't win the league, it would be exciting. Like they play just exciting football, and that's what you want to see.
Yeah,
So yeah, there'd
exactly,
be no
yeah.
reason not to take him.
I
Yeah.
love that throwing caution to the wind, and it doesn't really even. I always recall back to it because I made a terrible call on the Leeds Man United game this season when Leeds went to Old Trafford. I called that Leeds were actually going to, much like they did in this game. I just got the wrong Manchester. Much like they were just going to rise to the challenge and really take it on and get sort of fired up. They get absolutely hammered. But even at like 94 minutes, like 6-0 down or whatever it was, they're still flying forward.
Yeah.
Full pelt, 100%. Try to score, and even when they were like 3-4 down, it wasn't just a case, right? Oh, it's not our day. Let's flat stack it, and we'll just flood the box and we'll keep them out for the rest of the game. There was just none of that. They were so insistent, and Marcelo Bielsa was just on the touchline, just waving them forward. And I think it's just more about this total football philosophy. It's all about. It's not so much about the result; it's how you play, and how you conduct yourself in the pitch. Which is why all these players are so fit, because they're so passionate in their training sessions. If you ever watched that Leeds documentary, you see just how much of a madman he is. Yeah, he's a coach that I heavily admire.
I think they'll go down as the overachievers this year ahead of West Ham, just for the fact that I'm not sure that West Ham will get top 4 or even come 5th or 6th. Maybe they'll drop down a bit, but I do feel like Leeds have overachieved more than West Ham, because seeing Leeds in the top half, which is what they could do, I think that there are some that may have predicted that because of the way they play, but to actually achieve that, if they do, will be a massive overachievement for me with the players that they've got. I mean, you might look at some of the.
Sorry, Dan. Is he a shout for manager of the year?
Yeah. I mean, Pep will get it. It's always the winner, isn't it, normally? But I think if you're looking at anybody other than Pep, I think Moyes and Bielsa need to be in the mix, 100%, 100%.
Absolutely. Do you agree with that, Simo? I mean, if you're looking other than Pep, you'd be looking at David Moyes. But I mean, certainly Bielsa was up there for a shout, surely.
He was nominated for World Coach of the Year. He was part of the nominations.
Was he really? Well, there you go. I mean, that just goes to show actually how respected he is then, doesn't it? I mean...
It's people in football that vote for that sort of thing, and he is so renowned, he's held in such high regard by coaches like Jose Mourinho and Pep Guardiola, and those are managers that have obviously achieved quite a lot in the game. And yeah, he is held in such high regard, and that's why he made that list. And there was a lot of outcry about how is he made? This like it was like Zidane, Klopp, Guardiola, Bielsa.
yeah. But like I think it's great. I think it's great.
But he brings a lot to football.
I like him. He's a great. He's a massive breath of fresh air. I love the way he sits on that little call box there and sits down and like having a cup of tea like my dad used to when I was playing under 12s. Like, do you know what I mean? It's quite funny. Right, boys. Simo came on and said that Liverpool would beat Real Madrid 2-0 away from home. Unfortunately, it didn't turn out like that way. You got stuffed. 3-1. Was it Mr. Klopp blamed it on that you were playing on Real Madrid's training pitch, which I thought was utterly hilarious. I text Simo, did you see this? I thought that was quite funny. Look, we talked about it. We talked about it off air a little bit. You could quite easily turn that round tonight. You've done it before. You've done it against Barcelona. I know Anfield was full. I've been to Anfield when it's full. I know what Anfield is like when it's full. A great atmosphere. One of the most passionate football atmospheres you could ever be in. Anfield. Phenomenal atmosphere. So that's going to be a massive miss tonight for those players. Liverpool. Nigel Plumster's coming here. The game is it's tomorrow, is it? It's not tonight.
Yeah, it's tomorrow. I was just checking myself. I was thinking, tonight. Yeah, it's tomorrow. Yeah. I've
got my days wrong now. I guess I don't need to shut off.
Yeah. Well, that's right. Yeah. All right, tomorrow. So any chance you can turn a 3-1 around at Anfield? I think you've got a big chance of turning a 3-1 around. Definitely. If you can score an early goal, I think it's game on, and I think you're very, very capable of turning that around.
I think so, but the clean sheet's going to be ever so important, because if Real Madrid get that away goal, then it really does become a big mountain to climb. And I think the fans were such a key factor in the Barcelona match, the 4-0. The stage was set for that. There was injuries all over the park for Liverpool. Mo Salah turned up injured with his never give up t-shirt. The stadium was packed. People believed, and the goal came early, and people believed. Players like Gini Wijnaldum scores 2 in that game, but he often goes 10 or 15 without scoring. Gini Wijnaldum, but so the stage was set. But for this, they need to keep that clean sheet. When I made my prediction about Liverpool beating Real Madrid, it was just because Liverpool had broken into a spell of good form. They were heavily invested in the Champions League. It was really all they had left to play for this season, apart from the last run in of top 4. But the massive oversight was that we had Phillips and Kabak in the back line, and Trent Alexander obviously made an individual error that led to a goal as well. But yeah, I was hyped up by them because they'd kept 3 clean sheets in the bows, but obviously they hadn't come up against the calibre of side of Real Madrid with the amount of playmakers they've got, Luka Modric, etc., Toni Kroos, to just name a few. I think that they're going to learn something from that, and maybe they could take that to Anfield. But yeah, the clean sheet is going to be ever so important if Liverpool are going to try and progress on to the next stages.
Absolutely. Paul, what's your feeling, mate? I mean, me and Dan haven't had the butterflies of a Champions League night for many a year. We do know what it's like to be coming up against teams like Barcelona and Real Madrid and stuff in a second leg, being the underdog and stuff like that. So what are your feelings on tomorrow?
Yeah, actually, it's funny you should say about the butterflies. It's good to have them. Like, you kind of forget that like 3 or 4 seasons ago, we were nowhere close to this position. So like, I was the exact same as Sim. I thought we'd roll over Madrid. Got excited by beating Arsenal 3-0, I guess. And then it was
that's no achievement really, mate, this year, is it? Let's be honest.
Shame on me. I think, Klopp got it wrong. He played Keita. That just seemed like a bizarre decision at the start, and then it turned out to be as much when he took him off before halftime. But with this game, I just can't see us not conceding. Like Real, when they get into the final third or even the opponent's half, they're just so slick on the ball. They just move it so quickly. Like Modric is still top class if you give him any space. Benzema too. Without the fans, it's going to be very difficult. We'll have to wait and see what Liverpool turns up. It's been such a dodgy season so far. You just never know how we're going to play. And more often than not, recently, it's been terrible. And within the first 20 minutes against Real, it was terrible. I'm not that optimistic. But an early goal could change it. But like Real, like they're no pushovers. Like, so I don't know. I think they'll take advantage of the poor defense. I really do.
I mean, Dan, we can, I'd like to see Liverpool beat Real Madrid. I'd like to see Liverpool progress, but they're going to be buzzing as well. They've just come off of a win against Barcelona, an El Clasico victory. So they're going to be buzzing as well. I watched the El Clasico. They did look really good. I thought they had Barcelona in the grasp of their hand all game, really. Enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. The El Clasico, I thought it was a good game. But when you're coming up against the on form Benzema, on form Toni Kroos, these kind of players. Although I do think Liverpool can do it, it's a tough ask, isn't it?
Yeah, it's huge. I can't see it for the boys, unfortunately. Just for the pure fact that I can't see Real Madrid not scoring a goal. And I think once they do that, it's going to be very, very difficult for Liverpool then. I think that Benzema deserves a lot of credit, actually, the last couple of seasons. He just goes under the radar. He's been absolutely on fire. Brilliant goal the other day. And I can't see Liverpool getting out of this one. I watched the game and it was funny, actually. I missed every single goal that night, right? From Man City, Dortmund, Liverpool and Real Madrid, because I was switching over from both channels at the wrong times. So I started off watching Liverpool, Real Madrid, and I thought, what the hell is this? I mean, no offence, boys, but you were terrible in the first 45 minutes. And Vinicius Jr. was just giving you absolute nightmares. And then I turned it over because Man City had scored, so I obviously missed that goal. And then there was a penalty decision, which turned out not to be a penalty. And in that time, Liverpool had gone 2-0 down. So I've missed both those goals. So I was thinking, this is ridiculous. So I flicked back over them. Then Dortmund score, and then it all goes, I just thought, you know what? let's just forget it. Let's just watch one game. So I ended up watching Man City and Dortmund, and then I missed the Liverpool goal. So
I'd have gone
missed
to
every
bed.
single goal.
I'd have gone to bed.
I watched two games of football and didn't see one goal, and there was about 8 goals in both games. Anyway, so I don't think it's going to be nice. I think Man City Dortmund's going to be very, very interested because I don't think Man City have got the lead that they would like to go through in that game. So that's going to be a very, very one that's very much on. But I think Liverpool got too big an arse with Nat Phillips and Kabak trying to keep the Real Madrid lads quiet. I really do. So yeah, I fancy Real Madrid to go through, unfortunately.
Question for the lads. This one comes in from Nigel. Nigel, our administrator. Good evening to you, mate. Thanks for the great work you do always. How many English clubs will reach the Champions League semi-final? I don't know. What are Chelsea doing? What Chelsea are?
I think they'll be. I think they'll be the only one.
I think I'd like to see Liverpool go for it.
I don't fancy City. I don't know why. I just don't fancy City. It's Pep in it in Europe. He just can't do it.
Pep, isn't it?
I don't know. No, I think they are Dortmund good enough to beat them.
Haaland was so poor. I think he ain't going to be that poor again. I think he'll turn up.
You think so? Again, I think right. I think that game again is massively. Dortmund are at a big disadvantage then of no fans in that ground. Can you imagine fans in that ground?
Sea of yellow.
Oh,
yeah.
You know they're missing their fans again, big time. That wall of yellow or the sea of yellow or whatever they call it. I mean,
I've been in that wall. And
have you really?
Insane.
I mean, I see pictures of it. I see it on the telly, and I think to myself, Christ, do you know? I'd love to experience it. That's another big factor for that game. But I think Man City will come through that. I do. So I think Manchester City and Chelsea will come through it. I'd like to see Liverpool get through. I'd like to see them do it. I think they can do it. All three. All three will get through.
Wow. Optimistic, but he's gone for it.
All English teams will get through, Nigel. There you go. That's what I'm going for. All three.
Who's got a betting up?
Treble. All English teams to go through. €5 treble.
Okay, yeah, a few quid back that.
Yeah, wouldn't mind. Dan, would you reckon? Am I mad? Is that worth a treble?
You're talking about all three from the Champions League and us and Man United. Imagine that.
All English teams into the next round. Now that's a cracking bet.
Imagine that. I would say
I'm going to have a look at that when we finish.
Yeah. I would say put your house on it if you fancy being homeless.
Can we go to your European competition, boys? You need to beat the Slavia.
Oh, the elite one. Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. If you want to talk elite European football, let's do it.
The ropey league.
I think I'll peel my face off a Slavia Prague go through. I hate that football club.
Yeah. I really thought we were going to... Look, we should have beaten them last week. We should have beaten them 3-4-5-0. And people say, what? That is the facts. We missed 3 clear gilt-edged chances. Saka clear through in the first half. Bloody Lacazette going through and hitting the bar when all the, Aubameyang came on the pitch. First 2 minutes he's on the pitch. He's 6 yards out and he puts it wide. All right, come at him quick and this, that and the other. But, a player of Aubameyang's quality should realise how much time and space he had, the game should be over and, everyone should be celebrating that, that we put all this thing about everyone wants Arsenal to beat the racists and this, that, and the other. I mean, that's it's yet to be proven. But you know what I'm trying to say here. It's going to be a tough ask, Simo, to go out there. They haven't lost at home. I don't think they haven't lost at home this year, and they haven't conceded 2 goals at home since 2016. So. People who think this is going to be a pushover, I think are in for a bit of surprise. Arsenal are going to have to be at the very, very, very top of their game. on Thursday night. And Mikel Arteta has got to get this one right, Dan. He has got to get it right. He's got to get. There's no time for sentiment Thursday night. There's no time for this. Oh, I'll play Aubameyang tonight. I'll leave him out against Sheffield United. I'll play Saka and Martinelli. They'll have a great game together. And then I'll bring in Lacazette I'll bring in Aubameyang and Cedric. Do you know this kind of thing? He's got to go with the same team that played against Sheffield United, in my opinion, Dan.
100%.
It's the biggest game of the season. If we lose this game, our season's over because the league's hilarious. So we need to understand that this is make or break. I don't think this manager's good enough, and I've been very, very open about that. He cannot stay if we lose on Thursday night. But I have a really nasty feeling, Craig, that all four of us are going to come in on Tuesday and we're all going to be out of Europe. I have a really, really nasty feeling about it because, like you've just said, those stats in the Omen don't look good for Slavia Prague's record at home. We cannot be trusted as a football team. We have got it in us. We did it on Thursday and we've done it throughout the season inconsistently in the league. I don't trust this team. Now, we have the potential to be going there on Thursday night without Saka, without Smith Rowe, without Erdegaard, and I've missed one as well. So without Kieran Tierney. Without those four players who, let's be honest, have been our best four players this season, I don't have much faith in the Willians of this world. I don't know what Pepe we're going to get. I have no idea what Aubameyang's going to turn up. And if Lacazette turns up with those three around him, he won't be no good either because he's proven he can't play with them all season. So yes, I'm worried. 100%. Why wouldn't I be? They're a horrible side. Yeah, Slavia Prague. They're nasty, but they're great. They were there for the taking at the Emirates. We could have been 3 or 4 past them. If we get any opportunity on Thursday, we need to take our chances. We cannot be fluffing our lines again because what will happen is we'll get punished again like we did on Thursday. So he needs to be given some of these players the faith that he's had him, like Martinelli. I want to see him playing. I don't want to see no stinking Willians on the left. I want to be seeing Martinelli. Yeah, I want to be seeing if Saka's fit. I want to be seeing him. I want to be seeing these players infusing some of the senior players that have let us down. This is a massive, massive game. I don't think people understand how huge this game is on Thursday because we go through this and Arteta has saved all of the hate that he's got at the moment. We go out, this fan base is going to go even. You think I'm bad, man? You wait. See what happens if we go out of this game. Do not lose this game. That's all I'm saying.
Well, he can't lose any game. He's got to win it, hasn't he? To keep the Arsenal fan base happy, he's got to win it. Well, some of the Arsenal fan base, he's got to win it. We're divided again as a fan base, the Arsenal fan base. You know, Arteta out, Arteta in. It's here already after 18 months or however long it's been. Look, I understand what people are saying. I understand what people are saying when they say there wasn't this energy for Unai Emery. But you know, Unai Emery fucked it up for himself when he was a point away from qualifying for the Champions League, and the teams he put out to try and secure it were, it's just a sack by the fence. Anyway, any Arsenal fan will tell you that. He had to go. People are saying that Emery had a better squad. That Arteta's got a better squad.
I'd agree with that.
Possibly.
He has.
Possibly. I just think, in my heart of hearts, in my opinion, Dan knows my opinions on it. I would give him another summer. I would give him another summer transfer window. I'd give him another year. I'd give him another summer transfer window. As long as he's being backed by the board, he has to be backed by the board. If he is backed by the board and he brings in the right players, then he's under pressure from me. He's under pressure from me from day one. Then next season, if we find ourselves languishing 8th, 9th, 10th, November, December, then he'll have to go. Simple as that. Then I'll be off the fence then, and I'll be sitting with Dan. He'll have to go. He'll have to go because that's not good enough. I'll give him some leeway. I said at the start of this season, that I will give him the season before I make my judgment, and that's what I'm going to do. I've also said on other podcasts that I'm starting to. Defense is starting to lean over. I'm starting to, I'm starting to fall off it slightly. But I'm a man of my word. I will give him until the end of the season. I will see what he does in the summer, and then we'll see after that. So for me, if he goes out tomorrow, of course, I'm going to be highly disappointed because I want Arsenal to win games and I want Arsenal to win trophies. But it won't be the be-all and end-all for me.
Fair play.
Who's going to come in the
Stay by
summer?
you. As in player-wise, or as in if he
as
sacks
in-
and a manager?
Well, say Arteta stays and you get Europa League, or not even. Who's coming to Arsenal that's going to improve them?
Thing is, boy, this is what
Thiago
people
Silva.
say. This is what people
Some
say.
ancient relic.
Probably will be known as.
Some ancient relic from Chelsea.
This is the problem, though. I don't think we should underestimate the pulling power of the Arsenal, because we have managed to sign Aubameyang, Lacazette, Pepe, Thomas Partey, Kieran Tierney, being out of the Champions League. People will come to Arsenal because we are the biggest team in London in terms of history. We're not the most successful, and we're certainly not playing the best football in London at the moment. However, we are a huge club, and people would love to come to us because we have a great fan base, great stadium, and we're always going to be challenging for something, whether it be a trophy, a domestic trophy, or in Europe. So I think
our
we
mascot's a dinosaur.
Exactly.
Main point.
So if you look at it, I feel that we could attract. People laugh and say, "Oh, no chance," but I feel we could attract Diego Simeone. I feel we could attract Allegri. I feel that we could get a Rafa Benitez. I feel that if we're looking at the Jack Grealishes and Haalands, that perhaps we haven't got the money for them, but they certainly wouldn't be laughing if we were going for players like that. They would just say at the moment it's not really the right time. I'd rather go to Man City because they're at the moment competing. So you say who would come in the summer? I think we would have to be realistic about our targets. I think if we are looking again last night at Bissouma for Brighton, I think he would improve our midfield, no doubt, alongside Thomas Partey. I'm a huge fan of Edouard from Celtic. I think he's banging him in at 23. He can mould him into a striker. I think he's an upgrade on Lacazette. I think Hakimi from Inter Milan is a right back that would be 100% better than Bellerin. That's certainly a position that we need. I think we need a backup left back, and we certainly need a creative midfielder, whether that is Ødegaard or Buendia from Norwich or Houssam Aouar from Lyon. I think all of those are realistic signings. So they're the type of players I think that we need to be trying to attract. There's no point of us going for a Grealish or a Haaland. It's just not going to happen realistically.
I just need to. Dan's right in what he's saying. We see with Arsenal, it's not about spending. I don't know what the Arsenal. What I see with the Arsenal fan base is they want to be spending 100 million, 150 million on a player, right? Because they see everyone else doing it. They see Liverpool doing it. They see Manchester City doing it. They see Man United doing it, right? With Arsenal at the moment, right, the most important thing Arsenal need to do is upgrade. It doesn't matter whether he costs 15 million or 150 million. If the geezer is an upgrade for 15 million, buy him. It doesn't matter how much he costs. At the moment, it's all about upgrading for Arsenal. If you can find an upgrade for 15, 20, 25, 30 million, buy him. Get him in the team, and then we'll drive on from there. And then perhaps in 3 or 4 years, then when we're winning everything around us and everyone's jealous of us again, then we can start spending 150 million on players and signing Kylian Mbappe when he's 32 for his last payday and stuff like that. But
32, youngster for Arsenal. One for the future.
A lot of fans. I don't think. I've said this as well before. A lot of the time, I think, although it was brilliant when it happened at the time, winning the league unbeaten has been a bit of a curse in some ways, because winning the league unbeaten puts your expectations up here every bloody season, every year. Do you know? I mean, it wasn't long before that we were finishing. We finished 12th, I think, 10th or 12th in the league, and then Wenger came in and revolutionised the game in England, and he certainly revolutionised Arsenal as a football club. And now everyone's expectations up here. We moved stadium. you know, he wins the league unbeaten. We get to a Champions League final. We do a double. We move into this beautiful 60,000 all-seater stadium. Everyone's expectations are sky high. The expectations don't arrive. And this is where you get this fan unrest now. And you can understand why the fans would be unrestful about what we've been told. And, you know, we were told that we were moving to the Emirates to compete with Real Madrid and Bayern Munich and Barcelona. And this, I mean, and here we are now shitting ourselves that we're going to get knocked out of the Europa League by Slavia Prague. So I think other fans can have a bit of what's the word I'm looking for?
Sympathy.
Yeah, well, not sympathy, but just understand about why we get the ump so much. I mean, I know people come along and people call us the banter club and call us the banter fans and this, that, and the other. But you're going to see it happen at so many other clubs. Look at West Ham; they were taken away from Upton Park. They were taken away from their traditional home. They were taken away from their geographic location. They were moved. You know, they were moved to the Olympic Stadium into a big soulless bowl. You know, where all the seats are far back from the pitch. Tottenham's ground has been, you know, their traditional ground has been ripped down. Now I wouldn't say that's a big soulless bowl. It's a beautiful stadium. It makes me sick to say it, but it's a beautiful stadium. But it's a corporate. It's corporate. Do you know what I mean? It's like Roy Keane says. It's prawn sandwich. Get the rich people in there. Get them spending their money. You know, get the working class out. Get them out. You know, or charge the working class if they can afford it. Yeah, go on, they can come in. Football is pricing out the ordinary fan, and Arsenal. Well, Arsenal is a big example of that. There's not a lot of people that can afford. There's not a lot of people that can afford to go anymore.
I think that's why the fan base are getting frustrated. You know, because it gets to a stage where, you know, listen, the Arsenal fan base is majority of it's deluded, and I've said that for a long time. It is, but when I look at it, I think that we were already competing with Barcelona at Highbury. We were in the Champions League final with them in 2006, and then we moved to the Emirates to go and play Slavia Prague, and that's what frustrates me. So I can't see this dream we were sold moving or progressing. And that's why I think fans get frustrated. We're going to have our ups and downs. Of course we are. We do need to be realistic. We weren't going to move to the Emirates and be challenging for titles with Chelsea and Man City's oil money. And of course, Manchester United were very, very successful at the time. So I expected us to be in the top four and there and thereabouts. And that's exactly where we were. But we seem to have gone regressing and regressing and regressing. And the board and the owners need to wake up and do something about it, in my opinions, because we ain't going nowhere at the moment.
Look at this comment here. Look, this is exactly correct. Look, at the Emirates, I always feel what happens on the pitch is secondary. It's so correct, so correct. All Arsenal fans are baited with is buy this shirt, buy that shirt, buy this, buy that. But we get baited so much with how many shirts have we got out now this year?
12,
it's 5, isn't it? You got the red one,
Shocking.
yellow one, the red one, the yellow one, the white one, the blue one, the one that was designed by some bloody American rapper, and then there's the 424 one. Yeah, 5 shirts, Simo, in 1 year, and it's changing again next year.
I'm sure
another 3 are coming out next year, right? Another 3 are coming out next year. So that's 5 this year, 3 next year, and then they're telling us I've got no money for transfers. So look, all right, we might sound mad and we might sound reactionary, but come on, do you know? At least Liverpool, you've had some players over the last few years. You know, you've won a league, do you know what I mean? It took you a little bit of time, yes. You know, there was even a protest in the middle of all that, wasn't there? Do you know, people walking out and stuff? I mean, people can laugh at us. You know, people can laugh at us Arsenal fans, and it winds me up. Do you know,
the banter years get passed around. They get passed around. Like, they never last forever. They sometimes last for 30 years. Like they did for Liverpool. But they do get
Well,
passed
well,
around.
you talk about go easy, go easy. There might be Spurs fans in the chat.
They do get passed around. And, you know, like, you never know. But Arsenal could have a takeover. They could get a manager that just gets it right. They could get a player that comes through. The amount of players you get coming through. Something could go right. Absolutely. I mean, and football, any team that's in the top 6 is going to be commercialised heavy. Like, all of them are. It's just the way it's going. They're all going to be, PSGs, but it's like, oh, it's an Air Jordan shirt and £300 million players and stuff like that. That's just the direction of football, because the money in football is just going up, and the money needs to come from somewhere. And that's just the way it is. But the banter years will get passed around. They'll come round to us again, probably shortly, probably next few days.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I mean, Lone Star London, who says here, he says, stop banging on about the fans. The circus clowns running our club have got us here. Well, yeah, there's a little bit of truth to that as well. But I won't. There's a little bit of truth. There is a bit of truth to that, but I won't have it that the fans are not to blame a little bit as well, because we are reactionary, and we do set our standards high.
Can't unite.
No, we can't. Exactly that, Danny. There's always got to be something wrong at Arsenal. Like, we were doing a podcast last night, right? There's always got to be something wrong. We were doing a podcast. We were doing the same old Arsenal podcast last night, and I said to Dan, "Oh, that pass from Thomas Partey to Lacazette. I don't know if you saw it, right? The pass from Thomas Partey to Lacazette for Lacazette's second goal was a worldie. What a ball! Split the defence. Lacazette ran onto it. He didn't have to do nothing. All he had to do was, it was that good. It went onto his boot. Some fella in the chat. It was overrated. You just accept mediocrity. I mean, like.
And then they brought up players from 10 years ago, didn't they?
Yeah, and I said, I said, come on, look. I said, let's just call a spade a spade here. It was a beautiful part. Yeah, well, you obviously haven't seen Santi Cazorla or Osvaldo. Of course I have. I'm just talking about this, I'm just talking about this particular pass, But there's got to be something wrong all the time at Arsenal. If there's nothing wrong at Arsenal, right? If we do a podcast and we're sitting there going, that was good, wasn't it? and Lee goes, yeah. And Dan will go, yeah, it was good. And Harry will go, yeah. Thanks very much. We'll see you next week. Because that's what it'll be like.
I'll look forward to it. I'll be like, oh, Craig's in a good mood there.
Yeah,
maybe he'll be in a good mood for the same old screamers.
But I mean, it just winds me up. Like Dan said, I just wish the fan base could unite. I just wish why is there always got to be? I don't know what it's like being a Liverpool fan, involved in Liverpool Twitter or Liverpool media or Liverpool this and that. But there's just always got to be, like, if I say something, if I say that Arsenal are playing in red, someone will tell me that it's blue. Do you know?
It does seem that way.
Do you know? It's right. Just. Yeah. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. I just don't know what.
Many fans that have never been able to unite because they're always too busy slagging somebody else off or something else off, whether it's AFTV, whether it's We Care Do You, whether it's Ashburton Army. There will always be people that slag it off. There's nobody. Everybody wants Kroenke out. What are they actually doing to come together to get him out, though? We can't get anybody out, because the people that protest, that want him out, they get spat out or said they're an absolute disgrace. They're not real fans. They're trying to get the person out that you want out, that you keep complaining about. And the people that are complaining about Kroenke out are the ones that are going and buying the merchandise, swinging a scarf around their head saying Kroenke out. Well, you're the problem, mate, because you've just been buying all that merchandise, swinging it around your head. It's unbelievable, this fan base. It really is, mate. And we will never get anywhere because they can't unite. And it's always been that way, unfortunately. Wenger in, Wenger out, Arteta in, Arteta out, Ozil, should he play, should he not? Is Granit Xhaka good enough, yes or no? Some of them are good debates. Some of them are just vile, and it becomes toxic. So there needs to be a kind of happy medium, and it's hard. I don't think social media helps, if I'm honest. And it has got worse with that. It's certainly got worse in lockdown because there's no release going to games about opinions. They all get typed behind a keyboard online, and that can become very toxic. But it certainly do need to take some blame, the fan base, not just for Arsenal, other football clubs as well. But yeah, trying to move forward and trying to create change. Typical example, I can relate you boys with this. 77th minute, you all get up and you leave. Your voice was heard.
Yeah,
you united together.
Yeah.
We can't do that.
I mean, Lone Star brings another good point up there. He's saying that he's allowed his opinion, which I massively respect. He says that we're talking nonsense. Nothing to do with the fans. It's about the overplayed rubbish that we've got on the pitch. That's very true. We have got a lot of overplayed rubbish on the pitch. But then a manager comes in who's getting rid of the overpaid rubbish on the pitch, yet they want him out. So where are we? Where do we go from there? Do you know? Like,
I feel like sometimes the opinions of the debates of Arsenal fans. This is just from an outlook perspective. They get so because they are so passionate. I want to say like passionate or like polarizing. As the gap kind of comes so far apart. There's no middle ground. It's not like we'll use Arteta as an example. So a lot of them are just he's useless out. The other one is like. He's in. He's the future of Arsenal. But there's no middle ground that could probably say Arteta is doing not as well as he probably should be for the position he's in. But he has showed signs of being a promising manager. This is his first team head coach role, and there's a chance he could turn a corner and develop into a solid manager and take Arsenal forward in some sort of aspect. And that is like one voice in 10,000 in some of these debates. But I think that's in any football. I stay off any sort of like a sports at Verdun and Liverpool, and I don't get involved with any of the club posts on any social media because they are just poison. If we sit there, we need to take our wins when they come because it's few and far between. Liverpool as well. I said nothing's ever good enough. We've not won the league again, but. It's, in my opinion, circumstances outside their control, and it's just the way of football and social media as well.
Absolutely. I could sit here talking all night, to be honest, about it. But look, at the end of the day, it's all opinions, and everyone's allowed their opinion. I respect their opinions, but I'm lucky enough that I can come on the internet and get it out of me, and I don't mind if anyone wants to come against my opinion. That's fine, but don't expect me to sit down and take it. I'll come back and tell you mine. I'll do it in a respectful way. I'm not gonna call you names or this like other people do and do this and that. But it's just like if being a football. It's what it's all about. Being a football fan, opinions. And like I said, I'm just lucky that I can come on here and I've got a podcast that people come and they respect those opinions. So, we're very lucky, and we're very lucky that we're doing this one, and we've got so many people in the chat box here now. There's 105 people watching us here now, and so it's great. We'll have to end it here though because I've got to shoot off. Dan's got to shoot off because my wife won't be very happy with me if I go on too much longer because she's downstairs ripping her hair out with 3 kids. So thank you very much indeed for everyone who's been watching us live. We hope you enjoyed the podcast this evening. I certainly did. I got that off. I'm quite. I feel a bit lighter. My thanks to Dan. Thank you very much, mate.
Cheers, boys. Really good one, that. Again,
that was a
great banner. Enjoyed it. Well done.
Turned into a bit of an Arsenal one, but look, there you go. That's how it goes, isn't it? These unscripted podcasts, they're the best ones. They're the best ones.
Try again next week.
We'll try, yeah. The best nights out are the ones you don't plan. Simo, thank you very much, mate. Thank you very much again for joining us.
Mate.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't forget to go over to the Total Screamers at Total Screamers. That is where you will find the audio for this podcast. If you want to watch, obviously, if anyone wants to watch it on replay, retweet it. It will be on the same old Arsenal podcast YouTube channel. Paul, thank you very much for coming along this evening, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Cheers, lads. Enjoyed it. Thanks for having
Where
me.
can people find you on the Twitter box?
You can find me at Ballers of Wiki.
And I'll tell you what.
I put up daily quizzes.
Get over there. What a account. Get over there and support him because it's brilliant. I look at it every day. I get them all wrong all the time, but I'll get another one right in the next few weeks. I'm telling you that. Yeah. Brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much. Until we see you again, take care of yourselves.